Ananta is an upcoming free-to-play open-world action RPG, currently announced for PlayStation 5, PC, Android, and iOS. Ananta was first announced during the 2023 Gamescom event under the codename Project Mugen, and it attracted a lot of attention due to its movement systems and its open world that takes place within the city. It's a game that I've also been interested in since its announcement, since the movement systems look fun, and I've always been a fan of open world games set within cities. So I've been looking deeper into Ananta to find out if this is a game that people should be paying attention to, and seeing if its ideas are interesting enough to set it apart from other free-to-play open world RPGs. So in this video, I'll be taking a deep dive into all of the announcements, interviews, information, and trailers to truly understand what Ananta is. But just keep in mind that this gameplay and information I'll be sharing is from various points in the game's development, so everything could continue to change before release. But at the very least, you should have a better understanding of the direction this game is taking by the end of this video. Ananta is said to be a game that has a focus on its single player, but it will still have multiplayer modes for up to 4 players. During multiplayer, you'll be able to invite people to your world or visit other worlds in order to play and travel with other players. They haven't gone into detail about all the activities you can do while in multiplayer, but they have said that you can do a few recreational things like playing mini games and exploring the city together. But hopefully in the future they'll detail some more of the combat related activities in multiplayer too. Ananta's main focus is its single player though, and over time the developers have shared what we should expect from the story in the game. Within the world that Ananta takes place in, humans live alongside supernatural entities known as Chaos. Some of these Chaos live peacefully with humans, but there are others that are considered evil and cause trouble within the city. We'll take on the role of an agent within the A.C.D, an investigator that has the task of exploring the city to oversee the Chaos and deal with any that cause trouble or go out of control. Throughout the story, we'll need to discover the truth of why the Chaos are manifesting in the world, as well as finding out more about our own background and true identity. The story seems to revolve around our character and their experiences, and in addition to the main story, there will be additional side missions and environmental storytelling that I assume will help to flesh out the world. Throughout the story, we'll also encounter other characters that have different backgrounds and their own stories to tell. Based on what's been revealed so far, it seems like we'll be able to select between a male or female avatar for our main character. I'm still not sure if we'll be able to create a unique appearance for them, but at the very least, it does seem like we'll be able to dress our characters up in a variety of outfits based on what was said in interviews and shown in the most recent trailer. In addition to the main character, multiple additional playable characters have been revealed, and each of these characters have their own identities and powers. When they eventually join the main character, you'll be able to switch between those characters and take control of them. Based on previously released information, it seems like the humans that have powers are called espers. So it seems like alongside figuring out why the Chaos are manifesting in the world, we may also learn why people have these special abilities. In an interview, the playable characters were compared to superheroes because of these powers, which is also what gives them the means to quickly travel around the city in various ways. Despite how powerful the characters are, the development team still wanted them to feel relatable to players and wanted their personalities to shine through, so each character still has their own quirks and flaws. For example, the bunny character that seems to be a bit of a mascot for this game is called Taffy. She's a new recruit at the A.C.D and she works with you as your partner, but she's said to be a lazy girl that doesn't like to work and is a bit of a troublemaker. But when she's truly needed, she will be there for people. Gameplay-wise, a unique trait of hers is being able to transform her hammer, which is usually used for combat, into a motorbike to travel around the city. The movement in Ananta was something that caught the attention of people in the earlier trailers. In past interviews, the development team mentioned that they wanted to create a movement system that allowed players to travel quickly and freely without the need for stamina-based limitations that are found in many other open world games. Based on what's been announced so far, in order to travel around the city, we'll be able to swing, use parkour, travel on the subway and light rail, drive vehicles, take taxis, and swim in the water. But it's clear that the development team has taken inspiration from various sources for the city and the gameplay in Ananta. According to Ananta's producer, early inspirations for the game were taken from the 2009 and 2012 games Prototype 1 and 2 and the Grand Theft Auto series, along with various comics, animations and movies like Men in Black, The Matrix, The Minority Report and even Jackie Chan movies as inspiration for the combat. But one of the things that was pointed out by the producer was that most of the popular open world games that are set within cities tend to have mature themes that revolve around crime. But with Ananta, it seems like the development team wants to take things in another direction. They want to give players a similar setting as those games, but with a different feeling and tone. An urban city that's still close enough to reality for people to feel familiar with it, but with fun activities and paranormal experiences layered on top. It's been said that Ananta will feature a big world for players to explore. At the start, only one city will be available, but it was mentioned that the aim is to add at least one new city per year that are based on various real cities around the world, like London and Paris. The first city we'll have access to is Nova City, which is said to be a representation of various Eastern Asian cities. Nova City is said to contain 10 different areas for exploring, including places like a business district, a beach, an amusement park, public parks, shopping streets, factories, and various other areas and activities for players to participate in. The way players will interact with the world is designed from two perspectives. The first perspective is said to be while players are working as a member of the A.C.D, overseeing the chaos. Along with doing the main story and side missions, according to an interview, it seems like we'll be able to take part in activities that were previously referred to as infinite trigger events, but it's possible that this system may have a different name now. In these events, you'll receive a notification and you'll need to investigate the abnormality at the marked location, which could be a rampaging chaos. It seems like an example of this was briefly shown in the Ananta teaser trailer, where Taffy receives an SOS notification on her phone while the city is under attack in the background. The second perspective is when you're not working as an investigator and you're just freely exploring the city. During this time, players will be able to take part in all of the fun activities that were shown in the various trailers and mentioned in interviews, like visiting the cinema, going to maid cafes, going to the arcade, playing darts, playing basketball, taking part in racing, going to the club, watching fireworks, playing mahjong, going to the beach, going to the gym, and I'm sure there are plenty of other things that they haven't shared yet. They say that the key word for this game is freedom. They want to give players the freedom to explore the world and experience things in various ways. In a past interview, it was said that they consider the open world that they've created in Ananta to not just be competitive with other free-to-play games, but games within the whole gaming market, since they've said they can provide so many different emotions and experiences for players within the world that they've created. A dynamic and unpredictable environment is usually what keeps an open world set within a city interesting, since when they're done well, they're usually densely packed with various unrelated things happening at the same time, which can eventually lead to situations where they overlap and set off a chain reaction of random situations without your own direct input. So I'm curious if the world in Ananta can achieve the same feeling to keep things interesting over time, since a dynamic world is something that many of the free-to-play open world games tend to lack, and they usually get stale once you finish the pre-made challenges that they contain. In addition to exploring the world, there will also be enemies to defeat. Not much has been said about the combat system in Ananta yet, but it was said to be influenced by Jackie Chan movies. In those movies, Jackie Chan would often use objects found nearby and integrate them into his fighting style, and that's the same feeling they want to have in Ananta. Based on the limited information that's been revealed about combat, it seems like we'll be able to use a team of up to 4 characters that each have different combat styles and attributes. We'll also be able to equip our team with an additional special ability, which includes things like crowd control, telekinesis, or buffs that they expect to add another dimension to combat. In a previous interview, it was said that we'll be able to combine the movement and weapon systems together to create combos and use objects from our surroundings, like being able to use Taffy's hammer to attack enemies, but also being able to transform it into a motorbike during combat. And if a character can use telekinesis, you can pick up cars and throw them at enemies, or pick up tires from a nearby pile and shove enemies into them to hold them in place. It was also mentioned that if enemies are standing on an elevated platform, you may be able to destroy it so the enemies fall and take damage. So based on what they've said, it seems like I'll have a few different options available to use when it comes to combat. But it's all going to come down to how deep these systems are, and if it's fun to play. Ananta is expected to be released globally, but as of right now we still don't have a solid release date since the game is still in development. It seems like the game will be translated into English, Japanese and Korean, along with the original Chinese language. And they've said that various testing phases are being planned, so it's worth keeping an eye on their social media and website for any announcements. Monetization-wise, it doesn't seem like they've settled on a business model, but they did mention that they don't want players to have to pay to win. At first glance, it's easy to assume that Ananta would be a gacha game, and it's likely that it could still end up being one, but they could also decide to take a different path. One of the reasons they gave for not selecting a business model yet was that they wanted to focus on making a game that players will consider worthwhile first, since they believe that if the quality of the game isn't good, then the business model is meaningless. They want the player base to feel excited about the game and passionate about its content, and said that they don't need to follow a predetermined pattern for monetization and are keeping their options flexible. After launch, they've said that they plan to continuously update the content, the map, the characters and the storyline so players constantly have something new to experience. And they've also said that they want to continue to update the various modes and multiplayer in the game so players will never feel alone or lose interest in the game. They want Ananta to be around for a long time, and they've said that they plan on referring to the update cycles of other free-to-play RPG games on the market. But they don't want us to take that as confirmation that their update cycles will be exactly the same. It's still early days for Ananta, and there's still a lot more to learn about the game as its development progresses. I'll be following along with the game's development, so don't forget to subscribe if you want to be the first to know when a new video for it is available. What do you want to see from Ananta? Let everyone know in the comments. I'll be making some new videos very soon, but until then, here's another that you might find interesting.